Ashwagandha. It's a popular herb in Ayurvedic medicine that's been used to promote overall health and well-being for thousands of years. Let's look at new data today, even some discussing the increase in VO2 max.
How many people listening to us today do you think know their VO2 max?
Very few.
There is no metric that I am aware of that is more highly correlated with the length of a person's life than their VO2 max.
In fact, it's known as Indian ginseng, and it's been gaining a lot of traction outside of India. Let's also talk today specific doses. It's reported to have a wide range of benefits, including better sleep and improved memory even. It's also used in the treatment of anxiety, stress, and some use it to help with athletic performance and even in the treatment of menopausal symptoms, which is what I do in my practice. But the question always is there any scientific evidence to back up its traditional uses? After digging into the literature many years ago, I made my stress relief gummies based on ashwagandha. And now, here today, I'm updating that investigation to give you this year's latest data on ashwagandha. I was impressed by the evidence then, but let's see how that held up and what is the evidence today. What are the latest studies? And we'll see how you can apply it for your overall health and well-being. So in this video, I'll tell you the benefits of ashwagandha that have the strongest evidence, and I'll discuss everything you need to know before incorporating this into your healthcare routine. Now, one of the extensively researched applications of ashwagandha is its impact on stress and anxiety. A recent systematic review and meta-analysis of 29 trials observed a significant effect on anxiety with positive outcomes measured through the Hamilton Anxiety Rating Scale. And that's a widely used psychological questionnaire that we use to gauge anxiety severity. In a study, you need objective data, and so this questionnaire supports that. However, the trials that we're going to look at, they were somewhat limited due to their sample sizes, but remember, I correlate these with what I'm seeing in my clinical practice, seeing patients, real patients in everyday life. Another noteworthy study is a double-blind, randomized, placebo-controlled trial, we love those, exploring the adaptogenic and anxiolytic effects of ashwagandha root extract, the extract, which is my preference. What exactly are adaptogens? I know you've been hearing more about these. They are herbs, roots, and other plant-like substances. You hear a lot about mushrooms lately that help our bodies manage stress and restore balance after a stressful situation. People often take these as herbal supplements in a capsule form, drink them in teas, or use them as powders added to soups. My gummies are actually what sell the most, so we know people love gummies. In addition to assessing the participants' overall perceived stress and anxiety levels, the study also analyzed their serum cortisol levels, a stress hormone that's linked to elevated sugars, weight gain, and depression, all bad things. So this study reported a substantial reduction in stress levels and a decline in these cortisol levels. It's worth mentioning that this study also compared responses to two different doses of ashwagandha. The standard dose is 600 milligrams per day, and then a lower dose of 250 milligrams per day. Surprisingly, even that lower dose of just 250 milligrams per day led to a statistically significant reduction in stress levels, an improvement in serum cortisol levels, and enhanced sleep quality. However, when it came to anxiety improvement, the higher dose of 600 milligrams per day showed noticeable results, while the lower dose did not yield the same effect. In my supplement, what I use is 1,500 milligrams. I add zinc and vitamin D. So I use a higher dose than that, and that's worked for my patients. So the results of these studies are really impressive, but it is important to note that, again, as with many supplements, the sample size was relatively small. But again, I do see this in real life in my patients. So correlating this to what I'm seeing in clinical practice, that gives me solace to give it to my patients. Now, did you know that besides its well-known impact on stress and anxiety, ashwagandha has also been associated with improving sleep. With increasing stress and anxiety, often disrupting sleep patterns and leading to insomnia, this comes as a pleasant surprise. In fact, a meta-analysis of the randomized controlled trials involving 400 participants, so that's large, found that ashwagandha, the extract, again, does indeed have a beneficial effect on enhancing sleep in adults. Sleep not only makes us feel better, live longer, but also plays a big role in skin and skin glow, as you see from many of my videos. It is important and noteworthy to understand that 2 of the trials included in this meta-analysis use both self-reported questionnaires and lab-based polysomnography. Polysomnography is a test that provides more objective assessment of the sleep quality. So it's like a lab test, if you will, for sleep. This blend of subjective and objective data adds that extra dimension to our understanding of how ashwagandha affects sleep. If you've ever seen a sleep lab, you see how people are hooked up in there. They really can measure a lot of objective data. And again, that gives us confidence in these products. On another note, one aspect that remains relatively unexplored is the effects of ashwagandha in the elderly. Unfortunately, there is hardly any data on this subject, making it challenging to draw and define conclusions or extrapolate these effects to older people. As researchers delve further into this fascinating herb, we might uncover even more secrets about its potential. Now let's look at physical performance for ashwagandha. A recent double-blind randomized placebo-controlled trial, there were 50 athletic adults. Half of them received 300 milligrams of ashwagandha twice daily, so 600 milligrams total, for 8 weeks. Surprisingly, the ashwagandha group exhibited a transformation, an improvement in VO2 max, which is an elusive marker of cardiorespiratory fitness, leaving their breaths stronger and steadier.
How many people listening to us today do you think know their VO2 max?
Very few.
There is no metric that I am aware of that is more highly correlated with the length of a person's life than their VO2 max.
Why that particular metric?
There's probably 2 things going on, right? One, it actually does matter a lot. It's an amazing proxy for health. Have you had a VO2 max test done recently?
The last one was probably 4 years ago.
It is testing your maximal consumption of oxygen. Well, to get to that level, we are stressing you to the highest degree possible.
Not just that, the recovery seemed accelerated, as if there was some hidden force granting them the renewed vigor. So they really recovered better and they did well. And you're going to hear a lot more on VO2 max as a harbinger of longevity if you haven't already heard about it. Another study looked at muscle strength and recovery. 57 adults were in this study and they were divided into 2 groups. One had ashwagandha supplement while the other were not. They were actually placed on placebos, and a placebo is like a sugar pill. They thought they were getting something, but really there was no active product. The ashwagandha group displayed remarkable gains in muscle strength, but also in size. They also showed benefits by measuring their creatine kinase, and that showed a favorable response as well. In addition, they had a greater decrease in body fat percentage. So that seems to indicate the metabolic acceleration effects of ashwagandha. My perimenopausal patients love ashwagandha. It doesn't work in all of them, but those in whom it works, they swear they'll never stop it again. It's that life-changing. And keep in mind, perimenopausal effects, poor sleeping, night sweats. Some people describe that their memory's not as sharp as it was. Overall feeling of poor energy, lack of well-being. Those can all be associated with perimenopause. Really, these are overlooked in our society, and these side effects and troublesome symptoms that these female patients get, really, we don't do a good job in Western medicine of dealing with them. So we have to look to alternative medicine, and it's a more natural possibility for so many patients. So to that end, there was a study published in 2021 that looked specifically at the safety and tolerability of ashwagandha in 80 participants and found that the administration of ashwagandha up to 300 milligrams twice daily, again, that 600 milligram dose keeps coming back, for a period of 8 weeks did not show any adverse effects, specifically when it came to hematological and biochemical parameters. They also did not note any abnormalities in the subject's liver or thyroid function. So like anything, when you incorporate it, you want to ask your physician or your healthcare provider, but in general, it's very safe, and my patients have not had a problem taking it. Again, it's a 1,500 milligram dose that I use with vitamin D and zinc that works best. I'll put a link to my supplement here. And now you're going to want to watch this video all about hormone replacement therapy. It is about 40 minutes to watch, but it's well worth it. Stay tuned here. Keep your skin and body beautiful, healthy, and vibrant.